Iron Man, the first film in the MCU, came out when I was working in a cinema during university. My old housemates told me about Marvel's grand plans, as well as superheroes who could control ants and how it was going to be this grand interconnected thing that was going to change movies forever. Even though the MCU isn't the first cinematic universe, Universal got there in the 1940s with their monster universe. I laughed then, they've been laughing for the last 10 years. Because whilst I have my complaints about the MCU, too bland, too much CGI, a questionable quality of villains and indestructible heroes among others, also they've completely wasted the post-Snap era, because why would you want to see shows set during a time when half the population of Earth has simply vanished? Hard to imagine a setup with less opportunities to explore, but all of that pales into insignificance to this, well, there's no better word for it. Avengers Endgame, it's a masterpiece. Yes, it's the length of a Lord of the Rings film. My screening started at 10:40 and I walked out at 2 PM. And I couldn't think of any scene to cut. Not one moment seemed to be padding or a weak link. It is long, but thanks to my tried and true method of surviving a long film by not drinking my can of energy drink until the first practical effect, I made it the whole way through. It tasted great on the train home, by the way. Yeah, for all the many ones of the film, I get the feeling that the stunt crew took a lot of tea breaks, which isn't really their fault. Look, you know how films traditionally break into 3 acts? Person goes up tree, person gets stuck up tree, person gets down from tree. This film has one of the clearest examples of this I think I've ever seen. I mean, yes, the first hour could technically be done in 10 minutes, but then you lose all the weight and impact that has so many little moments that other films would have glossed over. There were moments here where I laughed. There were moments when I had a tear in my eye. There were moments when I wanted to leap up and punch the air. Except I'm English, and as such I just smiled like a loon. There were also moments in the first 2 hours when the person snoring happily behind me almost woke up before going back to sleep. They woke up during the 3rd act though. No one's sleeping through that. Whilst this is light years better than that bunch of disconnected, tension-free fight scenes I was forced to sit through repeatedly last year, and is arguably better than the franchise's previously unassailable high point of Winter Soldier, I do worry that ankle biters might get a bit fidgety given there's a lot less fighting and quipping and more people sitting in a room talking about plans, regret, choices, and should they get the band back together for one last gig. Then we get this massive mosaic full of moving pieces on a scale not seen since, well, Lord of the Rings, as multiple storylines featuring multiple characters in multiple locations full of so much fan service that are juggled with seemingly effortless skill, all culminating in an incredible 3rd act. If this is the end of an era of cinema, not the MCU, that thing's going to be around after the heat death of the universe, then it's going out on a high. This film is, at time of recording, already number 11 in IMDb's top rated movies, and unlike Snakes on a Plane, which was also in the top 250 briefly,
I have had it with these monkey fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane.
2000s are a really weird time in cinema. This film is going to be there for a long time. Look, will some of the CGI look dated in a few years? Yes. Would I have liked a practical effect or two? Yes. Would I change a frame, a single frame of this film? Not on your life. You're going to have to deal with the runtime, which flew by for me, but may not for Sugar Rush kids wanting a big fight every 10 minutes. This feels like a more grown-up MCU film. I mean, it's still got plenty of light moments to even out all the emotional gut punches, incredible fight scenes, and for my money, Thor steals the show, but as the culmination of a seemingly impossible dream that was told to me over a beer all those years ago, it's cinematic perfection. As far as I'm concerned, you should drop everything and see it now. But what do you guys think? And what's been your opinion of the MCU as a whole over the last 10 years? Comment below, let me know. I'm Daniel, it's been a Donkey. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe.